Hey, Jacob.
Hey.
Welcome to another episode of I'm Gonna Take a Dead Horse and Beat It. Today, we're gonna be talking about Death Note 2017 by Netflix. More specifically, Mother's Basement's video defending Death Note 2017 by Netflix. So a little bit of backstory. I got into Death Note and I finished the whole series, and then I watched the Netflix adaptation. I was like, this is shit. But everyone already talked about it, so I don't want to talk about the movie because then I would be adding nothing. But then I realized, hey, Mother's Basement made a video on it. If you don't know who Mother's Basement is, he's like a self-proclaimed know-all of anime. Like, he jokingly calls himself the expert of anime. That's all on his Twitter, but like, besides that, he also does post like really weird shit on Twitter. Stuff that people, if they were celebrities, would definitely be canceled for. Here's just some examples. He also has a knack of making really unfunny tweets that he thinks are just drop dead hilarious. And just annoying people that are bigger than him, like Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and YouTubers that really don't want anything to do with him. So here's a look. Now I'll say it again. This isn't for anyone to harass or to try to cancel Mother's Basement. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is that this guy severely has a terrible sense of humor. It's not funny. It can come off as offensive. And I just want everyone to understand what kind of person we're dealing with for the remainder of this video. Don't harass him. I mean, after hearing some of the shit that he says in this video, you can't really tell me that he's not bullshitting. Like, you really can't. But anyway, so before we get into the actual video, let's talk about some announcements. So, I've been working on a Crisis video for the longest time. Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've been working on a video for that. It's very long. Well, probably not to watch. It'll probably be like 30 minutes. But like, to edit it, it's been very long. So, that's why I've been gone for a while. And then secondly, Wonder Woman Part 2 is coming. I promise. No, please don't kill me. I promise it's coming. I have all the footage. I just need to edit it. Please calm down. Put the pitchfork away. No, don't click the unsubscribe button. Keep. Look, I promise it'll be out in the next 5 years. Anyway, time to get into the video.
Death Note is, despite the lashing it's gotten from fans and critics alike, an undeniably ambitious movie. It seeks to please series fans while transforming the manga's original concept of a notebook that kills people into a cautionary romantic coming-of-age story and a metaphor for American interventionism all at the same time.
Oh, I gotta copy all this stuff down. What? You didn't get all that? Oh, okay, I'll let you copy off my notes. Here, you should be able to read them pretty well. Bullshit? I think we have one for bullshit here. Everything that he said is bullshit. I mean, he's gonna elaborate on them, but I'm just gonna tell you right now, spoilers, they're all still bullshit.
I would much rather see a film adaptation try and fail than fail to try.
Where the fuck did you get the idea that they tried. No, they didn't. This movie literally is nothing but a teen romance drama with a book that kills people. That's not what Death Note was. That doesn't stick with the original message. That it didn't have to try to do that. This is just a rated R Disney fucking film. I don't know what you're talking about.
I have been one of the most vocal defenders of Death Note ever since the first trailer dropped.
Ah, we see a little bit of a bias there, don't we? You just want to have the satisfaction of saying, hey, I was right about it. I was totally right. It wasn't bad at all. You just want that because you still want to believe that you're the smartest when it comes to anime, and you can't admit when you're wrong about this whole thing. All of your points are bad because your only substantial thoughts are coming from the fact that you decided that you liked the trailer, and then you realized, hey, people might not like the fact that I liked the trailer because the movie was pretty heavily bombed. But I have to defend my ideas because saying that I'm wrong is too much of a terrible thing. It would discredit me completely because, you know, admitting that you're wrong is now discrediting yourself. If you believe that I'm making spaceless or, you know, statements that don't really have a reason behind them, then look no further than his Twitter, where he actually says that Yata 10 is a pedo anime. You know, that it was made for pedophiles because there's young children, and that's it. Yeah, I'm so glad. And when he got called out for it, he immediately retracted his statement and actually kind of deleted the tweet because he doesn't like being wrong. So
its slick cinematography, neon-tinged color palette, and generally bold direction gave me the impression of a film born from passionate creative vision. I kind of think it could be good, rather than a soulless studio calculation.
bitch, the fuck? Where? Okay, smooth cinematography. Fine, I'll give you that much. But it's a fucking Netflix movie. What did you expect? For it to be shot like a crackhead movie? Secondly, neon color palette is what made you think it was inspired. Oh, look, it has flashy colors. This must be a very passionate project and not a studio calculation in any way. Also, the fact that they literally turned the fucking Death Note into a high school romance story should completely discredit that entire fucking point on its own.
It's clear from every frame, cut, and musical cue in this movie that director Adam Wingard had something to say with this project, and that he was trying his damnedest to say it right.
Oh, really? Like when he said this?
Thought it wouldn't matter if we didn't stay together. And if it was over, maybe it was for the better. I was thinking of it all, till I thought it all through. Now I know that I ain't living if I can live without you. I don't wanna live without your love. I don't wanna face that alone. I can never
Ah, yes, because when I picture the idea of the two main characters of a movie falling to their fucking deaths, I totally think about 90s music. Yeah, that's the first thing that pops into my fucking head.
While the core of Death Note, the philosophical debate about what truly constitutes justice, does remain intact here,
There was a moment in this video where I knew, yep, I have to make a video on this. And that was this moment. This moment right here, right now, this made me go, fuck, that's really dumb. And so I had to make a video on it. So basically, like, what Mother's Basement is trying to say is that the cores of the show are there They're just not fully there, which no, they're not there at all. That's incorrect. The idea of Light thinking that he's Justice is talked about for maybe 2 minutes, and then nothing comes of it, like nothing at all. This is more just about him wanting to be with Mia, and that's it. Mostly out of the movie. So I would say that no, they're not intact, and the small little bit of intact that you claim it isn't even true, because it's not keeping the same kind of message. Instead of being like the original, that the message was like obviously like, oh, what's the thing about justice? The thing in here is just don't get horny and kill people because you're horny. Okay, that's it. Alright. It's just so stupid.
Elle and Mia Sutton, the film's version of Misa, managed to land pretty close to their original personalities, though the changes to Light make them take on very different roles in the story, but only Willem Dafoe's Ryuk feels really accurate to the anime.
I call about 15 different levels of bullshit in that statement. There is so much wrong with what he had just said that it's funny. Okay, let's start with Mia Sutton. Misa was someone that admired Kira very much in the original show, so much so that she actually tracked Light down and decided to date him and fell in love with him. That's her whole character. That's who she is, and Light used her to kill people. Elle, in the original, is a very calculating detective with little to no emotion. People argue that he had emotions towards the end, but no, he didn't. He never had emotions. It's been confirmed by the writer himself. And he was supposed to be the contrast of Light in their ideals of justice. And lastly, fucking Ryu was a spectator in the original that basically dropped the death note because he was bored and wanted to see what a human would do with it, giving it to Light by coincidence, and Light was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna use this to rid the world of crime. But it's noted that Ryuk never helped Light or told him to kill anyone without there being some personal gain for himself, while it be apples or something else. They never did that. Alright, now let's compare all of those to how they are now. Mia Sutton is not Misa. Misa and Mia Sutton are not the same character. Mia Sutton is this crazy fucking demon on the shoulder that makes Light kill people because she wants him to. And she's also really horny when people die for some reason. That's nothing like the original Misa. Elle is a detective, yes, good job, you got the bare minimum right. He, for some fucking reason, is black. I know that's not really that big of a problem. I just find it kind of funny how you could fuck up so bad to make an entire Japanese cast white, but make the only white character black. I mean, how do you fuck up that bad? But I digress. But he goes from being this cold, calculating individual to being some fucking dipshit who lets his emotions drive what he does half the fucking time. And then lastly, the biggest insult, Ryuk in the original, the spectator, he's now the instigator. He's the one that tells Light to start killing people. He's the one that pushes him to do so. That's not Ryuk. That never was Ryuk. This is bullshit. Bullshit. No. None of them are accurate. All of them are dumb. And the fact that this guy doesn't understand that is kind of insulting to the original show writers and almost to myself. Just because I know all this shit. Because I've watched the actual show and it's so good. And he believes that this could even slightly compare to the great characters of the show is ridiculous.
On that note, and this is a bit more obvious, I initially thought it was weird that the normally lazy Ryuk was so active in keeping Light's game going by pushing him to kill and even killing the FBI agents for him, essentially being the villain of the film. But of course it's revealed that Light just assumed that, and Mia was responsible and was in fact the true villain. Ryuk was just lying to fuck with him, which is very much in line with how he acts in the anime.
No. That only answers the second part of your problem. The first part is still unanswered of why Ryuk, caused Light to start killing. You never answered that, but I guess that doesn't matter because, one part of your question was answered by Mia, but the other part doesn't need an answer. That's fine. We don't need an answer. It's fine. Nope. Also, closer to the anime, no. I'm not budging on that point. Ryuk is not anywhere near the anime in terms of the way that they act, because this Ryuk is actively either harming or causing Light to do things. In the original, he literally did not do anything to Light except help him when he wanted to have apples because it was for his own gain. This has nothing to fucking do with anything.
It does follow the rules sometimes. In his final plan, Light carefully words his instructions so that he never puts his own name in the Death Note, for instance.
You can't just follow rules sometimes. The rules are either there or they're not. You can't do the in-between. You can't. The rules are there because they tell you the borders of what you can and cannot do with the Death Note. You either have limitations or you don't. There's no in between. You can't choose between in the middle of the movie because it's plot convenience. That's not how movies work.
But the film is at least consistent in characterizing him this way. He doesn't just suddenly become an idiot when the plot needs him to. He's a very different character from Light Yagami, but that doesn't make him a badly written character.
Young lad, I don't know if you understand very well, but please let me enlighten you. He doesn't become an idiot when the plot needs him to be. No. He becomes a genius when the plot needs him to be. Because at the end of the movie, with no fucking character arc, which I know you argue later that there is, but there really isn't, he gets really smart for no fucking reason. No fucking reason.
Turner does eventually end up acting like his anime counterpart, concocting a brilliant Machiavellian scheme to save his own ass and erase his problems at the end of the film, but he gets there through a character arc that sees his trust in others and naivete slowly stripped from him piece by piece.
Really now? Because from what I remember, his character arc was bad things happening to him and him learning from none of them. That's not what a character arc is. If you don't know, Mother's Basement, a character arc is when a character goes through a progression of the story because of events that happen in said story that change the character's outlook or views on a particular subject. This isn't a character arc. This is not a character arc because his views change so suddenly, so quickly, there's nothing there. He at the end of the movie is as fucking retarded as he is in the beginning. Because not only does he do like stupid shit, like fucking forgetting to use Watari's name and killing L if they can just do that, but not only that, okay? That's bad enough. But not only that, also, it's a huge fucking problem when you're making a movie and at the very end, after the character's supposed to be smart now, you just have him in a fucking coma. He wakes up and tells his dad, who works with the police, about your super mastermind plan and basically admit to being a murderer in front of your dad who's a cop. How can you think that this is smart or clever in any way?
Anime Light's self-preservation instincts and ruthlessness are largely foisted off onto Mia, which is pretty consistent with who she is in the anime, actually. She's not as intelligent or forward-thinking as Light is, and her impulsiveness ultimately ruins everything for both of them, which is pretty much exactly how things would have gone down in the anime if Light didn't keep her under his thumb.
So I got a new haircut because not because I actually wanted to, but because this video got so stupid that my hair just decided to leave. My hair follicles just decided, nope, I don't want to be a part of this shit anymore, and just jumped out of my head. But this is the problem with what you just said, Mother's Basement. The problem is that Mia is not consistent with who she was in the anime for a very specific reason, and that's the fact that she takes things into her own hands and decides to make drastic decisions without consulting Light for her own self-gain. Mia, or Misa, in the anime and manga, only did things for Light. That was her whole purpose as a character, was to serve Light because she loved him. But in this one, now she's just really horny for people dying, and that's the only reason why she's doing anything. That's not anywhere near the anime, and it's kind of dumb that you would even insinuate that it's close to that.
Whereas Light Yagami just starts killing because he's curious to see if he can. A lot of Death Note adaptations try to fix this in one way or another.
Out of all the points that you make in this video, all the terrible points that you make in this video, this one's probably my least favorite. This one's probably the worst point that you made, because Light Yagami does not just start using the Death Note because of experimentation. That's part of it, but that's not the full reason. Light Yagami even says this himself in both the anime and the manga, so I contemplated whether you just forgot about it or didn't listen, but he says explicitly that the Death Note has a power of drawing people to use it in one way or another. This also is backed up by later, when Light gives up the Death Note, showing that he was a good person. The Death Note changes people in a way that is for the worst, even at the very beginning of someone grabbing it. But obviously, I guess you didn't see that because you say that it's just for no other reason than he wants to try it out.
I wasn't ready to believe it at first, but it's obvious now. There's something about the Death Note itself that makes humans want to try it out at least once.
Where Light in the anime could be taken as representative of Japan's hardline stance on criminals, Light in the movie represents America's attitude toward the world at large.
Make sure to take a big mental note of what he just said, because it's going to be complete bullshit when he tries to explain.
A worshipper even clubs L over the head to save Light in a particularly strong scene. Early kills the North Korean general. When confronted by L in the coffee shop, Light brings up the idea that if he doesn't exercise his power, someone potentially worse could take it instead, which is a frequent justification for America's role in geopolitics. And at the end of the film, Light tells his father,
I thought it was simple at first. I was just gonna kill all the bad guys and the good guys would win, but it wasn't like that.
which is an apt description of pretty much every American military intervention since World War II.
Everything that he just said is wrong. Everything that he tried to justify is bullshit. Nothing that he just said made any sense at all. Let's just take this step by step. He says that the first scene with L being clubbed in the head was particularly strong, and that's supposed to be representative of American politics. Why? You know, Kira also has supporters in the original, so if we want to go off of that front, then does that also represent American politics? No, it doesn't. The kills around the world also happened in the original. When Light meets L at the coffee shop, first of all, that scene is bullshit because L just kind of comes and says, "You're Kira, I know it," even though the L in the show would never do such a fucking retarded thing. It doesn't fit your narrative either, because in that scene, Light says, yeah, if he doesn't have the power, someone else might have it, but that's also a justification in the show, not one that he particularly uses, but it is an idea in the show. So what is your point? And in the next scene, you're saying that it's apt description is him saying that I thought the good guys would win and the bad guys would lose. That's like one of the worst written lines I've ever heard. That's not an apt description. That's like a toddler mindset. That's so stupid. How did you get that?
Genuinely interesting westernized take on the core themes of its source material.
It really isn't.
given us more of the Final Destination-esque Rube Goldberg kills, which are one of the few things that I think basically everyone can agree are an improvement over the original. While Light's ability to induce sudden heart attacks is certainly terrifying, and the way he uses it makes a lot of sense, it's vastly more entertaining to watch a waiter pratfall into a guy and accidentally impale him on his fork, or watch a truck crash and have its ladder decapitate someone, than it is to just watch those people fall over.
Out of all the points, I think this one was your weakest. Everyone cannot agree on this, especially me. I completely disagree with this point. It may be more entertaining, in quotation marks, if you're a fucking edgy teenager, but I personally think that the kills are really stupid. Like, they look dumb. They are dumb. The whole point of the heart attacks in the original was that people would know that this was Kira. People would know that these kills were being orchestrated by one person. Whenever a criminal died of a heart attack, that's Kira. But in this one, they're just so fucking random that there's no way that anyone would be able to pinpoint this on Kira. There's no way that would ever happen. Where did this idea come from? I want to know, because none of what you just said made any sense, and it genuinely pisses me off. Especially because you say that this is an improvement over the original. The original didn't need to be improved in this way. The original was perfect because heart attacks were a calling card. But in this one, he just kind of kills people ridiculously, and it defeats the entire purpose of his character because he says that he doesn't want people to be afraid of him, but he's constantly killing people in the most grotesque ways possible. Like, even if you're not being killed, you're still going to be afraid of that. So, like, what the fuck?
I'm torn between giving Death Note a bronze medal or black medal recommendation.
How about you don't recommend it at all? That sounds like a better idea. How about we just not watch the movie at all? Even though I already have, and it hurt like hell.
Also, take this from a guy who's an expert in credit sequences, it has one of the best ending credits in movie history. I don't know who decided to set the final moments of this film to Air Supply's Power of Love, but they deserve a goddamn raise.
I just... An expert at movie endings or credit sequences? First of all, what the fuck does that even mean? Second of all, no, it's a terrible one. This credit sequence looks like it's for a comedy. This was a drama. The end credit sequence completely takes you out of the film. If you were ever even there in the fucking first place. It literally is just the behind the scenes footage, but the end credits. Like, you go to behind the scene footage, like, after you watch the movie, not during the credits. Not after you just finished the movie. Oh my god. I mean, you just completely make everything in the movie seem less grounded, less based. People have a harder time believing it now. What the fuck are you talking about? That's like the worst ending because it's for the wrong genre of film.
I'm sure a lot of people have already gone down there to tell me how wrong I am without actually bothering to listen to all of my points. So if you've made it this far, let me know by including the secret key phrase chinchilla in your comment.
You know, maybe people that talk about your video do actually watch the video and take account what you said and tell you why you're fucking wrong, like I just did. So, you know what? Fucking chinchilla. Okay, I watched your full video, I listened to all of your points, and I gave my rebuttals for every single one. They're all wrong. I don't know how you could like this movie. I mean, obviously you can. You have the right to. And I guess I can't be angry at you for liking the movie. I just don't know how you think that these are reasons to like the movie. Because they're all blatantly incorrect. Every single one of these things objectively are wrong. Now, obviously, I can't say that liking the movie is objectively wrong. You can like the movie. It's just all of your points don't make any sense to me. Like, at all. all of them have big flaws in trying to defend this movie that it's ridiculous to me, honestly. I don't see how you could be a fan of Death Note and genuinely think that this is a good movie installment for the series. This completely takes everything that the original was and shits on it. The only thing that isn't destroyed is the Death Note, and that is completely mutilated too. So I have nothing to tell you, but you're able to like it, but all the reasons you said that why it's a good or even a decent movie are just wrong. They're just objectively incorrect. But anyway, guys, that'll be the end of today's video. This one was a little bit rantier than most of them, and I'm coming out with another Wonder Woman one soon, and I'm also almost done with the Crisis versus Full Metal Final Fight soon, so stay tuned for that. But I needed to get a quick video out. I saw this on my YouTube. I was like, fuck. And so I had to make it. So, anyway, see you guys later.